This is the Vet Alumni Podcast with Tek Prem.
It's the Vet Alumni Podcast. I'm Tek, he's Prem, and the Birds. We weren't here last week. The Birds, they beat Cincinnati in the first preseason game. A lot of tidbits of news from that game and a lot of tidbits throughout this week.
Yeah, can I just say real quick that was probably, for me, that was the most enjoyable
I never saw a preseason game like that.
I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, action-packed.
I mean, have you ever seen that much offense from the Birds in a preseason game? I can't really remember. Maybe some of Carson's preseason performances are pretty good.
I was surprised that Tanner played the whole first half and then came back out for the third half. I mean, I
like it though.
Or the second half, the third quarter. I understood the philosophy of we wanted him to get that feel of what it would feel like coming out of the half.
To be the guy.
I get that.
Because look, if Jalen, God forbid, pulls a quad or he has an ankle strain, he's out for 2 to 4 weeks. I feel confident that they won't really miss much of a beat.
No.
Now they're different. Jalen is Jalen. He's one of one. He really is.
Right.
I don't say this to make people think I'm in the camp that I'm not a Jalen supporter. I say this more so out of respect for what Tanner McKee is, that the kid can play.
Yeah, he can. I'm a McKee guy.
They can both exist. Jalen can be a Super Bowl MVP. He's your number 1A.
They're complete.
But it could also be true that Tanner McKee could also lead you to playoffs too.
They're a universe of difference.
It's
between
really,
them.
But it's nice though, man. This is the quarterback factory in action.
It is though.
It's nice.
It is. I mean, look, Tanner McKee, obviously the highlight has been talked about to death. But I was really impressed with Darius Cooper.
Yeah.
And I just feel like now he has to make the team.
Does he remind you his body type of T.O. a little bit?
Yeah,
I'm not saying
because AJ reminds me of T.O.
AJ does.
I said when I saw Darius Cooper, I was on the phone with my dad. This guy looks like a shrunken down AJ Brown.
Catches everything.
He looks like AJ, but 4 inches shorter.
He should be the fourth receiver.
Well,
so far, I mean, look.
I would say fifth only
left.
because they drafted Johnny Wilson. And Johnny Wilson, to his credit, looked good.
I guess they're 4A.
He looked like a different guy.
They're
all
4A,
of a sudden.
4B, really, when you think about it.
Here's the thing.
But right now.
Last year, Johnny Wilson was terrible, and Anaya Smith was even worse. And I felt like John Dotson, he was just okay. And beyond John Dotson, you didn't have anybody.
No, now you at least have a little bit of depth.
Well, now look, I think, and look, this could be also assumed, but I think it's just obvious that with an entire year and then an entire off season of work,
right?
I think Hurts and Dotson are coming back on a different page than they were last season.
Look, Dotson was a first-round pick. Now, we know he hasn't lived up to the expectations of a first-round pick, but the guy was scouted.
Had a decent camp.
He was scouted as a first-round pick. If you look at that draft, he did. If you look at that draft, there was probably some big names taken around him.
Oh, yeah.
And every year you have first-rounders that don't amount to anything and guys that amount to the Myles Garretts of the world. By the way, I saw a cool picture of Jhoan Campbell talking to Myles Garrett at the joint practice.
At that joint practice.
Hey, I have no problem with that. I also saw a picture of, was it Landon pounding a Miller Lite talking to the offensive lineman.
And I saw somebody ask, well, why the hell was he drinking Miller Lights? I'll tell you why.
Who cares?
Less filling. That's why. Less filling. That's why he was drinking Miller
This guy's
Lights.
Christopher Walken now. Christopher Walken's the voice in those.
Is that Michelob? Is that Michelob or is it Miller?
No,
is it Miller?
It's Miller, yeah.
Oh, it is Miller. All right, I love that. Yes. Yeah, with the rebel in the background. I like a lot of what I saw defensively. Look, I don't want to beat the dead horse. It is a problem, and it's not going away right now. So we have to discuss the second cornerback.
What are they going to do?
They traded for Jacorian Bennett, and
we'll get to see him though.
We will.
We'll get to see him.
But right now,
against the Brownies,
this is the way it's looked. I read you can't just look at like ESP and some of these other guys. I read Kurz. I read I read a few of these practice notes that are complete
I like those pages.
annexes.
Yeah, it's just like bullet point after bullet point.
Right. And what I saw from these joint practices, like what I read, and from the two practices prior to, Jacorian Bennett had I don't know if this, I don't remember. It was either the first day of practice or it was yesterday, the second joint practice. He had a pass breakup. And then for several plays in a row after that, it was mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake. So he is not getting first-team reps like that.
Yeah, well, that's what practice is for.
Right.
And that's another thing, too. I think that, I'm an ex guy. I love it. I'm always on there. Sometimes I chirp at you, whatever. I just love it. So I'm always on there, and I just see the neuroticness of our fan base. Like, you can't be over the moon or under the moon over a couple joint practices or a preseason game. You just can't.
No.
It's not wise. It doesn't really add up to football sense.
And it's not even just a preseason game. People are going, like, I'll say this. I don't know if everybody needs to go red alert panic button because of Keely Ringo, but yeah, it's concerning and it's a panic button situation.
But it was also Ja'Marr Chase.
Well, yeah, and they put
a whole second unit out there.
Yeah, and by the way, it's not just that it's the second unit. In a real game, they're not putting them on an island like that. In a real game, you're going to have real pass rush. You're going to have safety help. Right. You're going to bracket Ja'Marr Chase, and your number one corner is going to be on him, not Ringo.
Right. So it's kind of an unfair evaluation schematic for him.
Yes, and I agreed with Vic because, by the way, as much as I like Sirianni, unless it's after an actual game, I don't care about anything Sirianni has to say during a week, before practice, after practice. I don't care.
What if that's about Flowers?
No, not at all. Nothing unless it's after.
That flower is a towering sunflower by now.
I know, it must be.
I mean,
wow.
Well,
it grew into a championship.
It grew into a championship flower.
It did. But unless it's after an actual game, a post-game presser, I don't care what Sirianni has to say. But whenever Vic Fangio speaks to the media, it's must-watch activity.
He's really good.
Anytime he speaks. So when he spoke, I agree with everything he has to say. And when he was talking about Ringo and Jackson, he said, look, I wasn't upset that Ringo didn't break up the pass. That wasn't what I was upset about.
Well,
I was upset that he didn't tackle.
You just got to wrap him up.
Yes.
I mean, you can't make that mistake in a real game.
Can't.
It is the preseason and it is Ja'Marr Chase. I want to see more from Ringo, although I don't think he's the answer at CB2.
No.
I also think that
he's not a starter.
But he has a place on the roster.
Sure, but I've been saying it for years now. This guy is not an NFL starter. He's not. And I'm glad what happened because everyone needed to see it.
Who's out there in the free agent market? Do you know?
Asante Samuel Jr. But the problem
why is he out there? There's something wrong there. What is the deal?
Here's the thing about even if he's fully healthy, he's not an upgrade over what we got right now. He's kind of.
You don't think?
I don't know about that. I don't think he's an upgrade.
Maybe he just wasn't in the right scenario. The kid's young. Was he 26?
Yeah, but he's never been a shutdown corner. He's like a solid corner, sort of like a Dory Jackson, sort of like Jacorian Bennett.
Right.
He's like a solid, Well,
they got to do something, or now this is probably not going to happen. Why is no one talking, including Vic? Why is no one talking about maybe just putting Coop on the outside?
I
think they like his Joker role.
Yeah, and
slot safety, Joker, whatever he's going to be. He's a linebacker sometimes.
I think it goes back. It was in mini camp. It wasn't even training camp. It was in mini camp when this idea happened, and it was discovered that he was going to play every role, and they were going to try him on the outside.
Yeah.
And he said something that changed things. I feel like he said in the locker room when asked how he felt playing on the outside, he said, "Well, I have to get comfortable with it because I didn't really do it a whole lot in college. So and then they asked Quinyon.
Well, that's different.
They asked Quinyon at the same time a little later, and Quinyon was like, he could do it. I mean, he did it a little bit in college, but he could do it.
Of course he could.
Yeah, but the
he's
fact
athletic
that
enough.
he feels like I have to learn how to do it. I got to get comfortable with that.
Well, it's
like
a different leverage point.
Vic's like,
you know what I
maybe
mean?
I'm just going to keep him where I'm comfortable, where he's comfortable.
You know what, though? Second guessing myself now even saying that, when you just think back to that hit that he put on King Henry.
Unbelievable.
You want him in the middle of the field.
Yes.
Because he's going to separate a receiver from the ball.
Yeah.
Or in some cases, he's going to dislocate some receiver's hip.
I love that.
I mean, it's just the truth.
Yeah.
It's going to be a legal hit, but I think I could see Coop like really hurting somebody out there legally.
Yeah, and they got him playing safety too, but
I love that, though. He's perfect for that.
He is, but I actually think, and I think Sidney Brown's a backup, but I think Sidney Brown's going to end up winning the job.
I think having the exciting whites as the safety
what,
duo,
I like that too. I like
it just makes a lot of sense.
I think so.
Because you have two really heady guys back there.
Yeah.
And then it kind of makes it where you can probably get away
with a Dory Jackson on the outside.
Or in the slot, you know. I mean,
yeah, or in the slot or
you probably put Sidney Brown in your slot at that point.
Maybe when it comes down to having a slot out there and two safeties and a slot, then you would bring in Sidney Brown as the other safety and move Coop to the slot. Is he going to
stay healthy is the question.
That's my biggest question on him. All right, here's what has been bothering me. It's not just about the preseason reactions. It's about these joint practices, right? So, like Jalen Hurts, the first practice he has like 3 interceptions or whatever. He had a terrible day. And then yesterday in the second joint practice, he had another bad day. It was like a C- grade or whatever. Right. It wasn't a good day.
Yeah.
Okay. Everyone's overreacting. Like I'm hearing like the Dan Cilios of the world talking about it. He said, I told you, without players, he is mediocre. And I'm going to say this, right? I equate Jalen Hurts in a joint practice with another team the same as, if you remember, there was a 3-4 year stretch where every year in spring training, Nola gets lit up. He's giving up home runs, giving up hit after
a lot of good pitchers
lit up in spring training.
A lot of good pitchers have bad spring trainings.
And people were saying, don't worry about that. He's trying stuff. So, like, I think about this Chris Collinsworth Peyton Manning interview.
Which
that
was
just
phenomenal.
Happened,
yeah,
where
Peyton is like...
Where Peyton was like, yo, Jalen calls me. They're running a lot of the same plays because of the coaching tree.
Right.
And he'll call me about some of these plays and ask very specific questions. He's a student of the game. His cerebral is in it. Like, when I hear stuff like that, and then I hear that he had 2 bad joint practices, I just think about, well, Nola was trying out 2 different pitches to see which one he was going to introduce into his arsenal during those spring training years. I think it was like 3 years in a row. He was trying to add a new pitch, and he got buried and lit up on those pitches. Well, he's trying it. He was trying. He never done those pitches.
Yo, when those lights go on for real.
That's what I'm saying.
And it's a regular season game.
People are getting
Jalen puts on them custom Jordan cleats.
That's
man.
it. People are getting a little too ahead of themselves with thinking he's mediocre right now because of some practices.
He ain't going to be making throws like he's making at a Cleveland Browns, Philadelphia Eagles joint practice.
He was trying stuff out.
You know
what
do
people not understand?
I'll tell you why. Because a lot of those people they're probably on the train that Jalen isn't a great quarterback train. He's just, he's a system quarterback. Oh, it's because of who he has. And
maybe
completely ignoring the fact that the truth about NFL history as it relates to great quarterbacks is every single one that won multiple Super Bowls had either a combination of one of the greatest head coaches ever and or some of the greatest position players to ever play the game. Joe Montana wins multiple Super Bowls. Who does he have? Do we even have to name the players? No, we don't.
No.
Troy Aikman. Do we even have to name the players?
No. Hall of Famers.
Terry Bradshaw.
Right.
We don't have to name the players.
No. Hall of Fame
Tom
players.
Brady. Did he win because of his arm all the time? No, he won because he had one of the greatest kickers of all time, one of the greatest defensive coaches of all time.
Yes.
And he was clutch when it mattered in the fourth quarter. Jalen is kind of like a different version of a Tom Brady in the playoffs. Now, forget about the regular season. In the playoffs, when it's the fourth quarter and you need points Jalen is getting the points. The only time he didn't is when he didn't even get the chance to go down the field to do it.
Right. People have to remember, too, regular season, right? I am a key factor in this, too. During the regular season, every snap, I'm critical of my guy. I'm critical of my team.
You're one of the most critical.
I'm sitting there like, yo, man, sure. He does stuff that bugs me. But now I'm resigned to saying, you know what? That offense, they won like 10 games. What did they win? Like 16 games in a row? They won like 10 games straight after that bye week. And
you were kind of off the train last season at one point.
Well, the offense was so dreadful for a long stretch of those wins. They struggled offensively in the regular season. And then they get to the two biggest games of the year, and there was no struggling offensively. They were a juggernaut.
Always dominated the fourth quarter TOP by converting late.
I get
that was the hallmark of that team. Mm-hmm. Is they might have not looked great for a couple quarters.
But they had that Panthers game, and I think there was a Browns game.
Well, the Panthers game, you got to look at the ebbs and flow of a season. That was coming off a pretty emotional win over either Baltimore, Pittsburgh. You know, when you have these games against these contending teams that are knock them down, drag them out, physical teams.
Yeah.
A lot of times you could have like kind of lackadaisical games the next week, especially when you're overlooking a team. Oh, it's the Panthers coming in. Oh, we got this.
Right.
You know, I think that was I agree with you. They almost lost that game.
Yeah.
Same with the Jaguars game. They needed that late interception to do it.
They struggled offensively
but they got it done in the fourth quarter every single week.
They did.
For 16 consecutive weeks.
You're right.
I mean, it's pretty mind-blowing.
It is.
It's mind-blowing.
It is. But, like, things that they struggled with offensively, simple things, in the two biggest games of the year, the two championship games, the offense was electric.
Most points in the history of the NFL in the championship rounds combined, 95.
Right. So
never been done.
I don't worry about Jalen. Like, stop worrying about
95 points, bro.
He threw some. Guess what he did in the first 4 games last year? He turned the ball over a lot. And then
he just stopped.
And then they went into the bye week. They changed the offense, and then he comes back out, and he was like a different guy. And and even when he struggled, I'm resigned to the fact that I love him. I think he's an absolute winner. He's a top 5 guy, in my opinion. If he's not 5, he's 6, and no further than 6.
No, I agree with you.
I'm resigned to feeling like he's gonna do stuff that pisses me off all the time. And it's little things.
But he's going to get it done late.
He's going to, when the lights are the brightest.
You could trust him like you could trust Donovan back in the day.
Even more.
Well, more,
I trust him more.
But I mean, in terms of
because he's a winner, and Donovan
wasn't really a winner.
No.
He was a mopey weirdo sometimes.
Yes.
But he was a great player. I guess,
sure.
I mean, in terms of, there were year stretches where we would watch the Birds and we were like, oh, Donovan's going to get this done. You just had that feeling.
Yeah.
In the regular season.
But there were times in big games where it's like, all right, Donovan's got to get it done here, and he's
throwing balls into the dirt.
Yeah, he
like
came
the
up,
Arizona 08 NFC title, his last go
right.
with Deshaun Jackson as a rookie.
Even if you go back to the early ones, like against the greatest show on turf, we had him.
We had it.
We had him.
We were at midfield.
The Super Bowl.
We were at midfield down by 5 points.
Yeah.
And that was the first of the 4 straight NFC title games.
The Super Bowl where he was puking in the huddle. There was like...
he was out partying the night before. Right. They said, that's crazy
The playoff game against the Bucks. There was like... There was games where he came up so miniature.
I know.
In those moments.
Because it's up here.
And Jalen
is unshakable.
He's the opposite.
He's unshakable.
Donovan would come up huge, looking like Superman in regular season games, where Jalen Hurts, he'll come up in big moments during the regular season, but he's not always doing that.
Right.
But when in the biggest moments,
forget about it.
He's the man.
He is not gonna lose in January. I said it last show. I'll say it again. The Birds are gonna repeat, and in my opinion, in spite of the defensive woes that they might face, in my opinion, because Jalen Hurts is the quarterback, I just think when they need it most, I just trust him to do it.
I trust him,
and
too.
And that's really, he's earned that from us.
Everybody needs to chill out. I mean, I'm listening to the radio. It's ridiculous. People are ridiculous.
It's a lot of rage bait, man.
It is rage bait.
I don't even really listen as much anymore because of that.
I don't either. If I'm honest, I don't either. It's just I had to take a long car ride, and I had it on, and I'm come on, guys.
Of course.
And all this is it's practice. We're talking about practice. Tomorrow, 1:00, they have the Browns. I don't know if it's going to be Shedeur Sanders. He's got that oblique. Yeah, I heard
Saturday,
he was starting.
1:00 game.
Yeah, it's very, very weird. I don't love it. I don't love it.
I mean, I might be on the beach. I could probably watch it on YouTube TV on the beach.
Yeah. I'd like to be on the beach.
I think I'm going to be on the beach, actually.
Yeah, I don't love that. Saturday, 1:00.
Very weird.
Yeah, I don't know.
For any football
Will
game.
we see a lot of McKee at this point? I don't think you need to. I'd bubble wrap him.
I would rather see him for maybe like a series or two, and then you bring in the other kids.
Yeah, bring in DTR and McCord needs a full half. Give McCord a full half. Yeah. I need to really. I'm very disappointed in McCord.
I'd like to see the kid get some more snaps. It's just about getting some time under center.
He's either a practice squad candidate or a cut candidate.
Well, you don't know. Yeah, you don't know. He deserves more than one shot, though.
He does.
For sure.
The running backs, Prem. I liked
exciting.
Look,
because we know who number 1 is and number 2.
Yeah, Shipley came out, looked explosive.
He does.
But A.J. Dillon.
Yeah, man.
And
he
look,
can catch the ball.
And the other guy, what's his name? Shederick?
I forget the last name.
Hey, that guy's nice, too.
They got 4 solid backs, man.
Yeah, but we know 3 are making this roster for sure. A.J. Dillon surprised me. I don't remember. I mean, I guess LeGarrette Blount, but I don't remember the Eagles having a running back like A.J. Dillon for a long time.
Yeah, no, me neither. Dorsey Levens, maybe.
Maybe.
Well, Dorsey Levens didn't catch out the backfield like that, but they were similar builds.
Neither did. I didn't think Dillon did either. And then all of a sudden they did, where he's catching. I'm like, since when? It was great to see.
I don't really remember him catching out the backfield much.
No, he's never been that guy. All of a
he's
sudden
always been
now,
like a downhill runner, if I remember correctly. Yeah.
Yes. So I like that they have Shipley to spell Saquon with the same kind of plays. You can keep the playbook the same for Shipley, but you have to install a different set of plays for A.J. Dillon. I guess the kind of plays they wanted, that they expected Gainwell to be. And look, I like Gainwell. I'm a Kenny G guy.
He went to the Lions?
I like Kenny G a lot. Was it the Lions? Or I don't know where he went.
How come I can't remember where Kenny G went? But I liked Gainwell, though. When he was at Memphis, he only fell in the draft, I think, because something like he sat out a year.
Oh, Pittsburgh. He's with the Steelers.
He followed Slay out there. Slay got hurt, I believe, too.
Did he?
In practice, yeah.
I hate to hear that. CJ DJ did, too.
Man, wow, that's odd.
And by the way, on the lesser note, so did Andre Dillard, by the way. So all former Eagles are going down.
Dillard went to the Texans, right?
I think so, but now I think he's in San Francisco, if I'm not mistaken. But look,
man, Howie always wins, man.
He does. I don't know if he's going to end up winning this on the Bennett trade. We'll see. But look,
jury's out. He might make another move.
But it was a good move for Booker. Booker was never going to get to really play here. He might get the start in Vegas. He was going to get a real opportunity.
And from what I'm hearing, Jomo. From the words of Lane Johnson,
a beast.
This guy is the real deal.
He's the real deal. Jomo's a beast.
When Lane Johnson is making it a point to say that, these guys don't
Mailata said it too.
They just don't throw around praise.
No.
It's not who they are.
No, it's deserving.
If they got nothing nice to say, they'll just keep their mouth shut.
I think Jomo could be better than the guys that went out the door.
Wow, man.
I really do. I really think he could be better than those guys.
Talk about winning a draft.
Yes. And what was he, like 7th rounder?
Something like that.
It's ridiculous.
And then you got the undrafted kid out of Tarleton State, Cooper. We were talking about.
Yeah,
undrafted.
I don't even know that college. I didn't even heard of it.
Never heard of Tarleton State?
No, and then
I've heard of it before.
Barrett Brooks, I guess he calls games when he's not doing Eagles, covering the Eagles, and he said the last college game I covered, it was that, and he was a beast in that game, so he automatically knew about Darius
Cooper. Some guys,
Cooper.
it don't matter for some guys. It doesn't matter the position, just in general. Some of these guys, whether they were Division I, Division II, undrafted, drafted, they can just play ball.
They can play ball.
It's just, can you play ball? Maybe they weren't scouted where they're like known on all the boards, and they're not talked about by the Mel Kipers of the world or the Kirk Herbstreits of the world.
That takes me back to McKee for a minute. On the broadcast, Ross Tucker made a comment where I found myself talking back to him like, yeah. Tucker said,
I love Ross.
Ross was like, what didn't he have that he fell to the 6th round?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Wasn't he a Stanford kid too?
Was he?
McKee went to Stanford, I think.
Did he?
I don't know why I can't remember these things
What
today.
didn't Tanner McKee have? How could he have
He's got the height. He's got the arm. He's a prototypical type of quarterback. He looks like a quarterback, if you know what I mean. And I don't mean that in any negative way. He just looks like a guy. He looks like a traditional, good, tall quarterback, like a Peyton. He's like a Peyton Manning prototype.
He was a Stanford kid, by the way.
I thought so. But I knew he was. You know why I knew that? Because Richie.
Yeah.
Talked about that.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know he's a smart guy, but like on top of it, like he's got everything you kind of want. I get it. Maybe not in 2025, but like he does kind of have everything you want. Like,
he did
look at Josh
escape the
Allen.
pocket too. Yeah.
Because Josh Allen is like. He's like Jalen Hurts, but better. He's got the better arm. He's got the better legs. He's the one. He's what you want in 2025. Tanner McKee is kind of a throwback to what you used to want.
He's almost like I look at Tanner McKee as like a taller Drew Brees type of guy.
He is
because he gets rid of it quick and he zips it in there.
He's a quarterback.
He is. He's a traditional prototype quarterback.
I don't know what he doesn't have.
Look, if you have to go a couple games with him, you're still going to be run heavy with Saquon.
Yeah,
and he's going to. The play action is
McKee had one bad throw in that game, and it was caught by Johnny Wilson. Even at the end of the game, he was like, Johnny Wilson's the man. They asked him about Johnny Wilson. He was like, Johnny Wilson's the man. He's like, on that one throw, I underthrew him, and he still got it.
And there was a hand in his face.
That's because he's like 6'6", 6'7", and the defender's like 5'10".
That's what they envisioned when they drafted him out of Florida State.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look. I like Johnny Wilson. I think he makes the team. I think he's the fourth receiver.
Good youth movement on this roster. Good youth movement.
I think you got to keep an eye on Smith too if you want him in the return.
Yeah, a good return, man.
But if you want him as a returner,
I think that's why you drafted him.
I think you got to keep him as a receiver.
That's why you drafted him as a returner.
Right, I think you got in order to keep him as a returner.
His
I think you got to keep him as a receiver.
Really is good returns.
I am not impressed with the Avery Williams guy. Not impressed with him at all.
Well, we got to see more still.
Yeah, I know.
I hear you. From what we've seen,
I am not impressed.
Yeah, I agree with you.
He's a ho-hum guy. They signed him to be specifically a kick returner, and I am so not impressed.
Well, we'll see. Maybe he'll break one against the Brownies on Saturday at 1:00.
Yeah, I mean that is a completely bizarre.
Let's play a football game on Saturday at 1:00. This isn't college.
No, it's going to feel kind of weird.
Hey, if I'm on the beach, though,
I like Friday night.
I'm not opposed to watching a football game on a Saturday on the beach.
No, is it on NBC? I have
no idea. I'll pull up the YouTube TV on the shore.
Oh, do you have? Are you able to watch?
I use YouTube TV.
Games on YouTube TV?
Yeah, it's like having an old style Comcast setup. You got like all the basic network channels. You got the regular cable channels like the TNTs and the A&Es and stuff like that. It looks like it's $80 a month.
It says it's going to be on CBS and NBC, but that could be in different. It might be CBS in the Cleveland
the Browns
market.
Are an AFC team.
It might be CBS, but it's also
CBS probably carries their preseason games, much like typically ABC carries our preseason games. Typically,
yeah, it is going to be on NBC 10, of course.
Okay, all right,
it is on NBC 10.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, so there we go. And if you're outside of Philadelphia and like Harrisburg or Scranton, it will be on your local Fox station.
Well, we'll see. I'm glad that they shortened the preseason to 3 games because I don't know. I don't. It's exciting, I guess, to see some of the position battles and what the young guys can be. But
I love it.
Ultimately,
I watched that game against the Bengals. It's a preseason game. I watched it down to till the clock hit 0.
I watched it.
And then I watched post-game live.
You're a madman.
I am when it comes to the Birds because it's
you are.
It was the fourth quarter. I mean, the whole second half, but the fourth quarter especially was very sloppy. It was kind of a slop fest. But you're going to get that.
They got some late points.
You're going to get that in the preseason. Yeah. I just
year.
I'm very I'm fascinated to see guys that I want to see and some guys that like I've never heard of, and I want to see that. I never heard of Booker until I saw him last year.
True, me neither.
I saw Booker and I was like, "Who is this Booker?
Who is this?
Who is he?"
And then they parlayed that into trade value.
Right, Cooper. I didn't know Cooper. I heard about Elijah Cooks.
Yeah.
I heard about Terrence Marshall.
Yeah.
I even heard about Danny Gray. I heard nothing.
Terrence Marshall, did he get on the field?
No, he was coming back from injury.
I thought so.
And by the way, Cooks got hurt right away.
He did.
Cooks and Marshall not being seen, that hurts them. Their stock is down. Cooper might have stole their spot.
I mean, look.
His stock is up.
That's the league. It's like Vince Papale did that.
Yeah, yes.
You know?
Vince Papale.
He's the last probably undrafted receiver besides Greg Ward to make an Eagles roster.
Greg Ward. He was undrafted.
He was undrafted, too.
Greg Ward. That was Jalen's first year. He had Greg Ward out
of the league.
That was his best receiver. Jalen's rookie year.
Yeah.
Or, I guess, his second year as a...
Yeah, he took us to the playoffs. And
that was his rookie year, wasn't it? Was that his rookie year?
When he played the 4 games,
or was that his first year as a starter?
Might have been his first year as a starter. I'd have to look. But
yeah, his first year as a starter, it was...
He had Devontae his first year as a starter.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Okay, then it was...
He didn't have AJ, but he had Devontae.
It must have been those first 4 games.
His first year as a starter, we were DJing together at that pizza place, Villa Pizza place.
Ward was still on the roster, but I don't believe he was like the number 1 or 2 receiver at that point.
You had Devontae.
But he was that year, and they even had that Beckham, didn't they? Dorial Green, Pecker, Willem. He might
Beckham.
have been on the team too.
Dorial Green, Pecker.
Yeah, let me tell you, those receivers, it was rough.
Yeah.
When he came in,
well, remember, just 2 years prior to that, Carson had a 4,000-yard season with no-name receivers.
With nobodies.
He had nobody hit 1,000 yards, but he had 4,000 yards.
That's why the critics look at Jalen Hurts and they're like, well, he threw for 2,900 yards.
Well, here's the thing: because a lot of those games were short into 3 quarters.
Yeah.
You don't have to throw. I mean, if you're up and you're just running clock and you're
eating
clock, first down, tick-tock,
You know what Carson didn't have? He didn't have Saquon Barkley. Let's just be real. He didn't have Saquon Barkley. If you have Saquon Barkley, you have the luxury of being a run-first team.
Yeah.
You just
the reality of it. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's not a knock on Jalen.
And by the way, if Buffalo had Saquon Barkley, would Buffalo fans want to see it still be the Josh Allen, Keon Coleman show?
They'd be mad that Saquon ain't getting a lot of carries.
Exactly. Come on, let's be real. And then they got James Cook, and Cook is nice.
It's about what's convenient for people that want to hate on Jalen Hurts. It's about what's convenient for their take.
Right.
Not the reality of the truth.
And then there's people like, well, look at Lamar. Lamar was able to do it with Derrick Henry. Yeah, but Derrick Henry ain't Saquon. I hate to say it, guys.
No, and he's not. I don't know. Something about the Ravens. Lamar doesn't have the killer January gene.
No.
He just doesn't have it.
He lacks the big moment.
He does.
He's
and
not able to deliver.
until these guys show that they don't lack that, like Dak Prescott, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow even though he went to a Super Bowl, still has to show it, Lamar Jackson, until they show this on the field in January.
Watching Hard Knocks, by the way, and I like it.
It's pretty good.
It is pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Pretty good.
They got some cool dudes. Real guys.
I think Buffalo's going to be a team. I do. Well,
we think it every year for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Are they going to be able to get over the hump?
No. I don't. And Baltimore, too. I still think it's Kansas City.
Maybe.
In the AFC.
I don't know. It's a toss-up to me.
It is. All right. We're gonna hit the vet line with a very cool guest.
We are.
Bob Vetrone Jr. This guy is a stat master. He's got some tremendous stats.
Really impressive.
And we're going to pick his brain on some of that. But first, brought to you by the Fairless Hills Academy of Music, it's time for VetPhact.
This is a VetPhact.
Well, Tek, August 15th, 1993.
My favorite year.
I know it is. What a great group of dudes in there in that locker room. The Phillies would welcome in the beloved New York Mets.
Yep.
And the Mets,
the
Mets would promptly get 4 runs in the first inning off Curt Schilling.
Wow.
That stadium had to be kind of nervous and
Schilling
upset.
got shilled.
But it was temporary because the 58,103 in attendance got to watch the Phils come back, drop 4 runs in the 8th inning, and win the game 5-4. Those 4 runs were the only 4 runs the Mets got all day. Because after that rough first for Schill, he went 6 more scoreless innings after that, striking out 7, walking only 1, and the Phils would get it done in the 8th. They got a 2-run shot from the Crucker. and Kim Batiste Tek. I don't remember Kim Batiste.
I love Kim Batiste.
Kim Batiste with the game-winning hit. It turned out to be the game-winning hit, the game-winning RBI in the bottom of the 8th with a single to left field. And Wes Chamberlain would score the 5th run. Another legendary Philly.
Loved them.
They'd win the game 5-4. They would improve on the year at that point to a remarkable 75-43, which I think is pretty comparable to what the Brewers are right now. This Mets team had some good names on it. You had Bobby Bowe on this Mets team. Todd Hundley, Eddie Murray, late in his career. Eddie Murray was on this Mets team.
Wow.
I didn't know 3,000 hit guy Eddie Murray went to the Mets. I forgot that. It was
I have somewhere a baseball card that was Eddie Murray on the Mets.
Makes sense. I remember him as an Oriole, like most people do.
Yep.
Dykstra, even though he went hitless on the day, he walked twice and scored a run. Mariano Duncan had an RBI. We just talked about Crucker with the 2-run blast. Dutch had a hit and scored a run. Wes Chamberlain drove in 1 run, scored the game-winning run. Just an all-around effort from the club. Kevin Stocker went 2 for 4 and scored a run. Very good day at the Vet after that first inning. Mitch Williams would come in and get his 32nd save on the year. August 15th, 1993, a magical season. Unfortunately, it didn't end magical, but that team will always have a very special place in our hearts.
Oh, yeah. That's my favorite Phillies team ever.
Absolutely.
And that's blasphemous.
I got to go 08. I go 08 now.
I love 08, yes.
03 or 93, we were kids.
I still love the 93 team, but 08. So as we move into the Phil sphere here, I like that the VetPhact was the 93 team.
Yeah,
because the one thing that the 93 team had in common with this team is the first thing I want to talk about, platoons. Everybody, it's been the biggest thing. Everybody's upset with the platoons. Let me tell you something. In 93, there was so many platoons.
There was.
You had a platoon at third. Yeah. You had a platoon at second.
Left
you
field.
had a platoon at first. You had left field. You had right field. You had platoons all over the place.
All over the outfield.
Sometimes Dykstra would have off. It would be Ricky Jordan in center field.
Right.
That's what it was all about.
Yeah.
Platoon everywhere. Fregosi had platoons
Kim Batiste
everywhere.
And Kevin Stocker.
And Marindini and Mariano Duncan and Charlie Hayes and Kim Batiste. And you had Incaviglia out there and Milt Thompson and Wes Chamberlain and Jim Eisenreich.
Ricky Jordan subbing at first base sometimes.
And center field. Yeah, he played center. Yeah, so you had platoons everywhere.
Yeah, more then.
Yes, you have less now. I mean, obviously the injury with Bohm. But you got second base, you got left field, and center
the outfield is just a shuffle. But Castille, I want Castille out there every day because I think he has to play every day to get hot.
I think he's a platoon guy. When he was out of the lineup, I liked the way they looked.
I know you did. You know, I'm on the fence with it because he has been one of the more clutch bats in October too. With this group,
I get it.
He's been clutch in October. Some of the biggest postseason
but
hits.
Since July 1st, he's pitiful.
He's pretty bad.
He's pretty pitiful.
Meanwhile, Marsh since May 1st or whatever, since he came back from the DL, June 1st, hitting almost 300.
Yes, Marsh
and Harrison Bader, man, how about that grab taking that home run away?
That was tremendous.
He's like Johan Rojas with a bat.
Sort of, yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, which is crazy to say. I don't love him at the plate, but he's certainly
serviceable.
Decent. Yeah, he's an upgrade from Rojas. Yeah,
for sure.
The thing that bothers me, and I listen, it ain't going away. But what bothers me is still, it's the offense, right? So my issues stem from when we won some of these games. It was the bottom of the lineup bailing out the stars. And that's not happening every day. They got lucky. It happened a couple times, and then the Stars made up for it, and then we had good pitching, and then it happened again for like 2 games in a row where the bottom of the order bailed them out because they got it going. Even the guys like Wes Wilson got crucial hits in back-to-back games.
Yeah, Wes Wilson, that's pretty impressive.
So
the Phils still have the 3rd best win percentage in the big leagues.
I get it, but
in the big leagues.
But I look at Bryce Harper right now. He's just playing mediocre baseball.
Well, he had a late jack the other night, and when it didn't really
matter.
It didn't matter. But he was on a tear though. He was
now he's completely cooled off.
You know what, though? These things, they ebb and flow, man. They ebb and flow. They got a .575 win percentage. You're 69-51 with a 5-game division lead. And, you're right. You're in the driver's seat. You're in the driver's seat.
That's why, listen. That's why I'm not freaking out.
The overall is good. The overall is good, but some of the micros are frustrating.
Yeah, I'm not freaking out because I look at it like, all right, man, you lost 3 in a row. You won 7 of 8, and then you lose 3 in a row. The Nationals, you're going to have to come into this Nationals. You're going to have to even the series.
Yeah, the weekend is going to be good.
You're going to have to sweep them now. You lost the first one, now you got to sweep them. Now you got to go win. Now you got to go 3 for 3.
You say that, but really
splitting them,
it doesn't make a difference.
Stink.
What you should look at with the Phils is how have they played, and do they play against the teams they might see in October? It ain't about how you play against the White Sox or the Angels or the Nationals.
No, you're right.
That doesn't matter. When it comes to playoff contenders and real World Series contenders, they've won way more series this year against those kind of clubs than lost. And that's what you're looking at. They've actually won the second most series in general in the entire league.
They got swept by the Brewers.
The Brewers are the only team that
I don't want to see the Brewers.
They haven't played well this year, but historically the Brewers in October fall apart. It doesn't matter the era.
I don't know if they're going to do that this year.
Maybe not. I mean, the jury's out on that. Hey, if it comes down to Phillies and Brewers and NLCS, I'll take that because I'd rather play them in the NLCS than the Mets or the Dodgers.
Yeah,
or the Padres.
I'm not scared of the Mets and the Dodgers. We seem to be able to handle. I just like the Phillies just got lucky because they needed to win that first game last night. They lost, but then the Mets lost.
Yeah.
So they maintain the 5-game lead in the division.
Right.
And that is kind of what's been happening this year.
That's what you expect. Well, now they're at a comfortable point where you got a 5-game lead in the middle of August.
Mets have been in free fall.
You got 45 days left in the season. You got a 5-game lead. You got another series left against the Mets. Maybe 2 series against the Mets. I think
you do. One's a 4-game and the other one's a 3-game.
So, out of those, that's going to determine your division.
Yeah,
probably.
You got 7 games with them, and you need to go 4-3 and then those 7 games.
Yeah, realistically, because then that just has the Mets exactly where they are now when you think about it. And this team is probably going to win another NL East crown. And again, it just all comes down to, will the bats show up when they need the big hit in a 1-1 game in the postseason because Wheeler's dealing or Sanchez is dealing, but then the other opposing pitcher's been dealing too because that's the playoffs. 2-2 late.
I'm worried about the pitching.
Are they gonna get the big hit late? Because pitching aside, you get a 3-run bomb late, it doesn't matter.
I hear you. That's what they're gonna need. They're gonna that's
how you win World Series.
I need you to get to Duran.
You need the Matt Stairs big hits late.
Yeah.
You need the Jimmy Rollins bottom of the 9th against the Dodgers and LCS late. You need that those moments.
I don't remember feeling even in the Lidge era, and I know he was lights out. And maybe you got to go back to Mitch Williams, except for the Joe Carter home run.
You feel as confident as you do about
like if it's 2-1, if it's 3-2, just get me to Duran. If you can get me to Duran, game over.
I'm glad you brought up the whole get me to Duran thing because one of the things that was being pumped out from our neurotic fan base after we traded for this guy was, they're not even going to get to him. Meanwhile, they got to him twice in the first 3 nights he's with the team.
They did, but by the way, that first night was that
was exciting to watch. I haven't been that excited watching a 9th inning in a long time.
No, me
Probably
neither.
Billy Wagner, realistically. I mean.
Well, I forgot about Billy Wagner.
I mean, it was exciting. You're watching the miles per hour with Wagner back then because it was so new to have a 100-mile-an-hour thrower.
This guy's pitching 103 miles an hour.
I've
never seen it before. That one pitch that was 103.3 miles an hour was the fastest pitch ever thrown at Citizens Bank Park.
It's like Rookie of the Year. Remember that movie, Rookie of the Year?
Yeah.
The kid does something to his arm and he's throwing 104.
Right. Duran is literally that. And I'm just now I'm yo, guys, just get me to Duran. Get me to him. If you can get me there, then I feel perfect.
I mean, they have as good a chance to win a pennant as they have in any of these years with this group.
All right. Well, we'll see.
We will.
We'll see.
We'll know soon.
All right, I see the line, the vet line. The red light is blinking.
A true vet alumnus, by the way. On the
yes, but we might have to. That might have to be the first question. Might have to hit him with the vet.
I think we have to shift things a bit.
Yeah, you got to get to the vet memory first because Bob Vetrone is an old head. He's an OG.
School. He's going to give us a good one.
All right. With that being said, let's hit the vet line with Bob Vetrone Jr.
And now it's the vet line.
Why don't you answer your phone?
Joined now on the vet line by Bob Vetrone Jr. You know him on X as Boop Stats.
Yes.
Boopstats.com. Bob Vetrone. Bob, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. So I always see your stats on X. I love the in-depth analysis you'll post and the really unknown facts and obscure facts. But I want to know from you, as someone who used to be affiliated with the Daily News and no doubt went to the vet many times, what is one of your favorite Veterans Stadium memories?
Well, there's a lot. A lot of my memories are not about the actual games. One of my favorite things was when Dick Allen came back to play for the Phillies late in 1975.
Yeah.
My father was doing some work for AP, and during that game, instead of sitting in the press box, he came down and sat with me so he could cheer one of his favorite Phillies of all time.
Wow.
So, things like that. I mean, there are games that, stand out to me, doubleheaders against the Pirates here and there. The Ryan Howard beat Schmitty games. I was a big Greg Lazinski fan, but it's the moments like with my father, I think, and sitting with him in the press box a lot of times as two guys that were working means a lot to me. It'd be hard to surpass the 1980 NFC Championship game, though.
Yeah.
With the Cowboys.
Wow.
It was cold as heck. It was almost as cold as the 2004 game at the Link. But when Wilbert Montgomery broke that run early in the game, it just. You could hear the whole stadium, breathe. We finally had the Cowboys where we wanted them, and no matter how cold it got, we were going to get them through it, and they did. So I would have to say the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And when you think about it, too, that's really like one of the first huge moments at the vet.
Yeah.
Because simultaneously, though, I guess you had the Phillies making their run, too. What a time to be alive, man.
Yeah.
What a time to be alive.
The Phillies hadn't, had just gotten the World Series and all. They had no good playoff games up there until then. The vet was shrouded in Black Friday at that point because none of us will ever forget that. Then you had the World Series, winning the World Series in October and the NFC Championship in January. So it took 10 years, but you had two pretty good events within 3 months.
Yeah, that was a great era in general, like late 70s to the mid 80s, I guess you could say, almost 83. So be it. All right, so moving on from that, because we always have to get that from someone that we know grew up at the vet like we did. My memories are also with my father taking me to see. One that sticks out for me is the Dale Murphy extra innings walk off. We walked all the way down to like the home plate level area when he hit it. I was like 10 maybe or something like that.
Because back then you can go down into the box.
Yeah, all the way down.
Late in the game.
There was nobody there. It was a weeknight. So we always like to start with that with a new guest that is also a vet alumni like us. Moving on to the Phils. What's your take on this team, the Jekyll and Hyde nature? How do you feel about their outlook to actually win, not just get to, but win a World Series this year?
Well, like I always talk about baseball, it's a marathon for 6 months, and then it's a series of 20-yard sprints. So all you can do is work to get into the playoffs and then hope that you can perform well enough to win these little series at the end. They're good enough to win the World Series. They're probably not the best team in baseball. That's going to be either Milwaukee or if the Tigers rally again like they did earlier in the year. But they've got enough to put them in positions that if their pitching comes back, they get a little more timely hitting, then they can win it. They also could not win it, as we've seen. Baseball is that fickle. My thing is I'm concerned that not so much the starting pitching isn't pitching well, is that he's starting to I don't want to say that he's starting to get worried or choking or whatever, but now he's talking about a 6-man rotation. And guys are getting tired, and I'm like, no, that's not the way to go. You pitch, you put them out there, you let them work through it. You're not asking for 300 innings off of these guys,
right?
And then you get to October, and you get your 3 or 4 starters, and you shorten your bullpen up, and you take an extra utility guy, and you win that way, and you hope your bats come alive. But are they going to win the World Series? Boy, I hope so. Can they? Yes. Are they the odds-on favorite? No, and I don't think they will be. But I'd give them a puncher's shot. At least the third or fourth best odds out there, I think, behind the Milwaukee and whoever happens to come out of the AL.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm on the same page with you. I like how you broke it down, like, sprints after a marathon.
Yeah.
Before we shift over to the Birds, you had mentioned to me something about a cool road trip stat.
Yeah, how many times this week I've heard about their longest road trip of the year, 10 games, and that's all fine and dandy. But, like you said, we're vet guys. We go back to the days of the old 6-team NL East and all that stuff. So I went back and I looked, and 1976 Phillies had a 16-game road trip, the longest I can find in the divisional era. But the sad part is it started August 23rd. They were 80-41. They had a 13.5 game lead. They won the first 2 games of the road trip and then went 2-12. And the Pirates cut it to 4.5 games by the end of that road trip. But again, the Phillies held on. But that was 16 games. That's a pretty long road trip. Before divisional play, they actually had road trips of 19 games and 17 games back in the day. So I keep hearing this long 10-game road trip. And, obviously travel is different than it was in the old days. But, I don't want to hear about long 10 days road trips.
Right.
So anyhow, I wanted to bring up that, in the 16-game road trip that they had, that is when they went into Pittsburgh at the last of the 5 cities, and the Pirates were closing down. And that was the first of the 2 Dallas Green explosions during a Labor Day, between games of a Labor Day doubleheader. There are 2 famous Dallas Green explosions, one there and one during the strike year. That was the first of those 2 at the end of that one. Actually, no, that was 76. I'm sorry, never mind. That wasn't Dallas Green.
What a great year, though. 76, they had one of the best records they ever had, I think.
Yeah, got that screwed up. So anyhow. But 10 games, not a long road trip, not in my book.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah. It's kind of being used as an excuse a little bit.
Well, I mean, I know they had something happen at the airport or something 2 nights ago. Or something like that.
They did not get out of there Cincinnati until 12:30 this afternoon, on Thursday afternoon. So.
Oh, right.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's that explains the lackadaisical start in Washington. But they should still take 3 or 4 from this Washington team.
Better. They better take 3 or 4. Jesus Christ.
Indeed.
All right, shifting over to the Birds, Bob. Look. There's a lot of excitement around this team. They are deep. They are a deep team. They have a lot of depth. However, there's a couple spots where they're thin at, and there is some growing concerns about spots like safety and the second cornerback spot. What is your feeling about this Birds team going into Week 1 against the Cowboys?
My basic football philosophy has been the offensive line is by far the most important position in the game. You only have to look at the 2 Chiefs losses in the Super Bowl to see that, their offensive line was decimated both times and they showed up for neither game. And I think that it proves it. As long as I've got Malati and Johnson on my tackles and a Kelsey-like Jurgens at center, and I know the guards are a little nicked up a little bit now, I'm happy. I'm happy with the offensive line. The offensive talent is there, so teams are going to have to defend, which makes it easier to block. So the offense is going to be fine. And most of the defense, and I know the defensive backs are always a problem. They've been a problem in this town for 40 years now. But the front 7 is just one young guy after another getting better. Yeah. And no matter what guy you pick out of the lineup, he's like, oh, he played well last week, or he's young and he'll come on. And then Deshaun Cooper goes and gets one of the greatest pick sixes in Super Bowl history. So if my biggest concern with the Eagles, as it's been for so long, is the defensive backs, I'll be happy to hang my rung on that. The most important thing to me about the Eagles is that they're in the best bracket. I'm an NCAA tournament guy, so I like the NFC bracket is very much more winnable than the AFC bracket, where the Bills and the Ravens, and I'm also a Chiefs fan, so I'm always looking at so those 3 teams are going to not only beat each other up in the regular season because they all play, but they're going to have one of them's going to have to beat the other two probably to get into the Super Bowl again. So
yeah, it's brutal.
I'm happy we're in this conference with a Lions team who I know can be good, but really is, in my book, is still the Lions, and a Commanders team that just does not scare me at all. So I think they're Philly got a shot to get back there and a really good shot to win it again.
Yeah, I like your breakdown. I mean, the AFC is a gauntlet.
It is.
Gauntlet,
yeah.
Baltimore.
It's like the old Big East, 3 teams that could be the best 3 teams in football. So
yeah, absolutely.
That's true.
Absolutely.
And the AFC West is shaping up to be maybe the best division in football. We'll see.
Yeah, Bo Nix is a player.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's scary for my red half of my football.
How did that happen, Bob? I want to know how that happened.
I like the Chiefs too, but that ended when we faced them in the Super Bowl. Just like I was a Yankees fan until we faced them in 2009, and I haven't been a Yankees fan since. But like I feel you on the Chiefs. How did that come together?
Well, when I was 8 years old, actually, 9 years old in 1971, the first full football game I watched that wasn't an Eagles game, I sat down with my Uncle Al and I watched the Chiefs-Dolphins divisional playoff game on Christmas Day. It was the game where the Chiefs lost in double overtime. John Stenerud missed 2 field goals. Otis Taylor had a long touchdown. Ed Podolak had like 300 yards. And I just felt so bad for them. And being open to the eyes that there was a whole nother conference that the Eagles weren't even in, I said, I'm going to start following this team. Now, to be fair, I didn't tell a lot of people in grade school when they were having 2 and 12 years, but as they got better and I became a young adult and the Joe Montana showed up and all, I started buying more Chiefs stuff. So, and because the Eagles and Chiefs hardly played, they went 20 years without playing each other. There was never much, of a problem. And there was a tie-in, Vermeil goes to the Chiefs, Carl Peterson goes to the Chiefs as general manager, then Andy Reid and the Jaworskis. And so there's an incestuous tie-in between the two cities and 2 teams that's always been there. And I'd like to think I was part of the original part of that back on Christmas Day, 1971.
Do you go to the bar in South Philly?
I've been to the bar 2 or 3 times.
Nice.
Never saw a win there. The reason I went 20 years ago, I used to get calls from one of the bartenders, Michael, on the first cut-down day every August, wanting to know which 15 players the Chiefs cut to get from 90 to 75. That's sick. So I had to go see this guy. I had to go see the bar. It is a great place. It's like the old Yogi Berra thing that it's so crowded nobody goes there anymore. Between the parking and trying to get in and all, I really haven't been back, but I went 2 or 3 times. I went one game once during the week and for 2 games, and they lost both games. So it's kicked off the bucket list. But I probably won't be back there, but I really do. I love it and respect the hell out of those guys, and I hope they get to celebrate another their half of a Chiefs-Eagles Super Bowl soon.
Oh, boy.
There you go.
Maybe I'll go rock my Super Bowl LIX Champions Michelin Ness jacket down there.
Well, you wouldn't make too many friends.
No. I'll have you with me, Tek. It's okay.
Yeah, well, I got Chiefs gear. I could rock my Chiefs gear.
I can't believe what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I hear you.
Bob, give us a cool Eagles stat. I know you had something cool.
Let me tell you first about my biggest Chiefs problem is I have Chiefs gear also, and sometimes I'll grab something out of the closet I think is a Philly shirt, and it's a Chiefs shirt, and I'll be going somewhere where I know I don't want to be wearing a Chiefs shirt, and it's, like I'm walking around with my hand over my chest the whole time. It's just, you got to pick your spots sometimes with, when you're wearing that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
This comes from a guy whose son-in-law is a Cowboys fan, so,
Well, that leads me to my point. I was in North Philly earlier today. I'm a realtor, and I'm driving through the area, and there's these guys that have these Dallas Cowboys flags right off of Sedgley Avenue, and they have, like, a little, restaurant out of their house. They have a Cowboys, rug on the cement. They have it's painted blue, and they're sitting out there in the middle of North Philly with Cowboys flags up.
Wow. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
You ever heard anything more asinine in your life?
Well, it's absurd.
Yeah. I respect their fandom, but it sounds like they might be covering up for something else. Watch my Cowboys hand over here while my hand on the other side is doing something else. So,
it's very possible.
It could be a front. That's right. It could be a front.
Dak Prescott is a front.
Yeah,
Well,
I hear you.
It starts with the owner.
It does. They're just a disaster from top to bottom.
I heard the Packers made a legit offer, by the way, for Micah Parsons. I don't think that's going to happen, but I hear the Packers did make a legit offer.
Yeah, you have a dig at the Cowboys,
was a bet
right?
with the rest of the NFL?
Yeah, I don't know.
You have a dig at the Cowboys, I think, right, Bob? You have some kind of dig at the Cowboys.
Yeah, it's funny. I was looking at the schedule in September, and do you realize that the Cowboys might only be the fourth best football team to play at the Link? Because we got the Eagles, we got the Rams, we got Oklahoma. I mean, they're all better than the Eagles, right? Because Oklahoma comes in to play Temple.
Oh!
So the Cowboys may not even be better than the college team.
That's funny because
they may not be better than Oklahoma.
Oklahomans are usually Cowboy fans, people from Oklahoma.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Switzer, right?
That was good.
And Temple also plays Howard, which is a Division I AA team. If they were really, really good, I would have put them ahead of Dallas too, but they were only like 2-10 last year or so.
Right. Yeah, they might be the fourth best team.
And real quick, before we let you go, Bob, I know you love Duran. We love Duran. What do you got on our new closer, Jhoan Duran?
When they got him, I started looking around for something that nobody else has seen, and I found out since July 3rd of 2023, when he plays the second half of back-to-back days, when he comes in one game, then he comes in the second game the next day, that second game, he's got an 0.51 ERA and a 0.88 whip, which is just off the charts. And to me, that yells playoffs to me because there's only 2 instances you got to play 3 games in a row in the playoffs. So you could lay him out there just about every night, a la Brad Lidge in 2008, and shut down these guys, night after night. And it reminds me a lot of 1980 when Tug McGraw was unhittable from like July 7th on. He had pretty similar numbers, I think, going, with a half a run ERA and that stuff. So we've won 2 World Series in this titles in this city in forever, and both years the closer was a humongous part of it.
Yeah,
and,
I love that, man.
You can win without one these days, but it's really it's like kids make up for a lot of the bad things in life. Closer makes up for a lot of the bad things in baseball.
I like it. I like it. Now, you know what? The guy is good when he gets going, is what you're telling me. And you might have to get going multiple days in a row in October. And they have a real horse in Duran.
Yes, they do.
And he looks like he's a good enough guy that he gets along with the guys. He didn't come in and steal a job, and it just seems like he gets along in the clubhouse. And in this day and age, that's as important as anything. And this clubhouse is a little bit on its edge mentally, I think, sometimes. So they could use another stabling hand like that. If it comes out of the bullpen, I'm all for it.
Yeah, man. Well, for our listeners, you can find Bob on X, Boop Stats, also boopstats.com. Some of the best insight and cool stats I've ever seen. Yeah. Bob, thanks for taking the time to join us, and hopefully, gentlemen, we're talking about a World Series soon, hopefully.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
That's Bob Vetrone Jr. And we got picks, right? We got picks coming up.
Well, let's hold our horses for a minute, Tek.
Oh, boy. I got some
news. I went 1-2 last week, and both of the losses were extra innings losses. Let's just say that I was 2 extra innings losses from going 3-0. Now, after a 17-7 start, I'm 4-8 over my last 12.
Ooh.
I am instituting something in the first time in the history of the Vet Alumni podcast.
Yep.
I am having a picks bye week to get right. And you know what? Andy Reid was real good off the bye week.
Yes, you're so. So this is strategic.
This is my after the Tampa game, Eagles last season bye week.
All right.
This is where I'm at right now.
Okay, you're taking a bye. You're taking a breather so you can recalibrate.
It's reasonable.
All right.
Given the fact that both of my losses were extra innings losses, and I'm 4-8 in my last 12.
Okay.
After a torrid, I was so hot I couldn't pick wrong.
Right.
So
yes.
I think that's what's happening here.
All right. Hey.
The first ever.
Prem's
ever. Picks bye week.
It's being instituted here.
Officially.
All right.
Episode 172, first ever.
There it is. All right. I'll take that. All right.
Fair enough.
Birds tomorrow. It's the Cleveland Browns. We don't know if Shedeur Sanders oblique is going to get in the way of him making the start. Maybe it's Dylan Gabriel. I don't know. I expect to see Shedeur Sanders. We'll see.
I think he's hurt.
Is he hurt?
It's an oblique.
Yeah. Well, all right. Then he's hurt. I don't know who we'll see.
It's an oblique strain. We'll see if he comes out.
I want to see a repeat performance of what they did against the Bengals. That's what I want.
It was all Tanner McKee.
That's right.
We'll see.
We'll see. All right. We will see you next week.
Vet Alumni.